Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another edition of. Oh, this is Trap Chat. I almost said the wrong name. Trap Chat Live. I am your host, Kirsten Greggs, and it is Opportunity October. I am here with a trailblazer in the recruiting industry whose enthusiasm for learning and sharing knowledge is nothing short of infectious. The dynamic founder of the Collab Lab, Maisha L. Cannon. And I'm going to shout out Sarah because she reminded me of something earlier. Sent a text to our group, and she was like Kirsten, and she posted, the ad of the show, and she's like nobody, like because nobody said anything, and she's like Sarah, and it's like Maisha with the MA because there was this show. So, like my whole line is Maisha with the MA. So yes, Maisha with the MA.
Yes, not the MA, but the MAI, right? For AI. So I'm already tech ready with the
Yes,
AI in
already
my name.
branded. I know that's right. Maisha, for those of you who don't know, Maisha has delivered powerful presentations at some of the most prestigious conferences in her field. She has captivated audiences at SourceCon 7 times, Recruiters Network 6 times, and Gem Summit 2 times. As an industry leader, her expertise has been displayed in publications such as Recruiting Daily, Recruiting Brain Food, and SourceCon. Maisha's inventive approach to sourcing has not gone unnoticed. She has been honored as a finalist in the SourceCon Grand Master Challenge and has and as the third place winner in the world's greatest sourcer competition. In her current role, Maisha designs transformative learning and development programs that enable talent teams to source with greater precision and less stress. Three things that we are going to talk about at the end of the main Q&A. So three things Maisha's great at: listening, learning, and laughing loudly.
That part.
Maisha, did I miss anything? Did you want to add?
No, beautiful introduction. Thank you, Kirsten. And I want to give a shout out to Farah Parker, my old school friend who helped me with that bio. She's a PR professional, helped me with it years ago. So I just realized that when you read one of the lines, I was like, that's Farah's magic all over. So thank you, Farah Parker.
Thank you, Sarah Parker, because that's one of my favorite bios to
Is it?
recite. Yeah, I posted
Oh, good.
7 times, two
Ah,
times.
one time. Yep. Shout out to
Yeah.
White Club John with it.
Listen, I'm a fan of quantifying. Okay.
That part. Okay. Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm excited to be here during Opportunity October. So thank you for thinking of me.
Yes, yes. So you've been on now. This is your third time with me.
Is it three? Oh,
Yeah,
yes, you're right. You're right.
on this side of the camera.
Yes.
Um, but for those people who are not familiar with you, can you
Mhm.
share your career journey
Mm,
from recruiter to
mhm.
sourcer, from sourcer to now facilitator, and what inspired you to start the Collab Lab Inc.?
Thank you for this question and all of the time you put into hosting all of these fantastic podcasts for the community. I really appreciate it. So I started very early in HR. I had an internship in high school that exposed me to all of the facets of HR, and I fell in love with recruiting very early. So recruited for I was a recruiting coordinator, HR assistant to start, and I actually transitioned out of recruiting and did teaching for a while. I think teaching is my first love. I was the little girl in her bedroom with stuffed animals, and I was teaching to them. I had a chalkboard in the room. My mom and grandmother were educators. So, yeah, it was just natural. So, I taught for a little bit, but, the compensation for teachers, especially back when I started, it paled in comparison to what I had made earlier in my career in recruiting. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go back to recruiting because I still get those intrinsic rewards that I love so much, with helping people find careers that they love. So circle back to recruiting. And then after, progressively challenging roles, went from recruiting to sourcing to leading sourcing teams. And then my first love was calling me again, the teaching. So I had an opportunity to circle back to adult ed. And that's kind of how the idea for Collab Lab was born. It was just getting back to the work that naturally energized me, right? Which are the ultimate pairing for me, in addition to our wine that we had in our last podcast.
Yes. 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 So
Yes.
speaking of your L&D programs,
Hmm.
you stay on the pulse, like you stay on the cutting edge. And I don't say that, what's the right word? Y'all know I'm working on different time zones. I've got transition. So
Giving some jet
I
lag
don't have
grace,
a lot of
jet lag
words.
grace.
Oh, cliche. The word I
Yes.
was looking for is cliche.
Okay.
But some of your new L&D programs are artificial intelligence, AI focused.
Hmm.
What is your process for determining which L&D programs will be most impactful?
Yes, that's such a good question. And I'm still uncovering and discovering that too, since I'm still in year one of the Collab Lab. But I use social listening and community engagement primarily, right, to identify the trends, the pain points, and try to balance that with, my own natural curiosity, right? So that's kind of how the AI coursework was born out of my own 100 Days of AI challenge that I learned about through a founder community that I'm a part of, hosted. Actually, it's through Trends VC. I don't know if you've heard of them, but a Black man runs this community of hundreds of founders, and I learned about it through that community. So yeah, the AI definitely inspired me with some of the coursework. And then a lot of it is just fundamental, right? I think back to my first days as a full cycle recruiter, and the way that I got trained, right, which was put in a little closet of an office and given a stack of resumes a foot high and told start interviewing, right? So I reflect back to that experience, and I'm like, we can be much more intentional with how we onboard recruiters into the profession. So I think back to those early lessons I wish I would have gotten as I design, coursework as well.
Yeah, they had us in there like Wu-Tang Clan. You either got a stack of resumes and they were like, figure it out.
Yep. Yep.
Or they were like, go sit next to this person and
That's right.
just,
That's
you
right.
know, shadow
Shadow.
box slash,
That's
shadow them. I'm like,
right. Shadow boxing. I had made that Wu-Tang
like, come
connection.
on. That was the Wu-Tang reference. Y'all know this is trap chat. That's how we get down.
I
Um,
love it.
like that's not how you train people.
Right.
Not at all. But
That's right.
I love that you have taken it upon yourself to
Hmm.
give to the community in the way
Yes.
that you do. And
Hmm.
one of the things I have always admired about you is that you not only deliver training, but you're an like avid learner. Like you,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Yes. I do.
And that is like your title to call yourself chief learner.
Yes.
Instead of like CEO or like chief facilitator, you're like,
That's right.
no, like we're in this together. Like
That's right.
that's an awesome way to present your skill sets, and I
Hmm.
really feel like you're set apart in that manner. So I
Thank
appreciate
you so much. And thank you for noticing that, Kirsten. I don't think anybody else ever called it out to me that they noticed it. So I'm
it. Not
glad you
true.
see
That's
me.
not
I'm
true.
serious. No one's ever commented on that,
I
but it
think
was very
were
intentional.
they were just
Hmm.
I'm a how do you, because this is opportunity October,
Yes.
how do you assess the potential risks and rewards of an opportunity before deciding to pursue it? And then
Mm.
second part of that question, does the assessment process differ in making personal versus professional pursuits?
That's really interesting. Personal versus professional. I think, for me, I'm naturally curious and I'm a researcher at heart for both personal and professional. So I always conduct thorough research before I do anything pivotal, right? Or that I perceive might be pivotal for my career or growth, and consult with people that I trust. And I just try to make informed decisions based on the data I have at hand, right? And I can think about times where that served me well, and I can think about times when it didn't make a difference in the end because it still ended up a complete mess, right? So everything I try to look at as a learning opportunity so that as I take each step forward, I'm mitigating my risk, but I also am embracing, what comes with it. Because sometimes you get some beautiful memories from missteps, right?
Yeah.
So just trying to view each risk as worth it, right? And that takes some training sometimes, and in tough situations. But yeah, I try to approach it that way. And I'm inspired by women like you, women like Renee Reed, who I'm wearing her She's another podcast queen,
Ooh.
like you are, the tech rap queen, but Black women who, carve out their own paths, right? They're not limited by a title or what someone else told them they could be. So I think that encourages me, even when I feel like it might be risky, right? Like
Mhm.
starting your own business in a down market, right? That's a little bit of a risk, but I'm already seeing the rewards of that and just being able to show up every day as me. So yeah, it's always a good trade off.
Yeah, I definitely need to get the name of that of this shirt you have on because I'm gonna get one.
Yes, get one. Yes, the tech rap queen. Yes, I'll drop the link for you and
I
you
was
can
acting
share
real.
it.
I was acting real 1900s just a second ago. I was like leaning
Right.
into the camera.
We got digitized ways of I'll drop the link. Yeah, you have to
Oh
strain your
my
eyes.
goodness. Okay. Are there any strategies or mindsets that have helped you become more attuned to spotting and proactively seeking opportunities in your career and personal life?
Mm, that's funny. I'm thinking of the advice I got growing up in South Central LA. I think it might have been my mom. She said, "Keep your head on a swivel." Okay, so you walking down the street, you need to be having eyes in the back of your head. You need to always be on alert. So maybe some of that sticks with me now. But I think I'm naturally optimistic, and so that keeps me in a place where I'm always seeing opportunities. Right, I'm always seeing them. I'm thankful for social media like LinkedIn because I can be found right for opportunities and I think, all of us, we sometimes feel like we miss opportunities sometimes, right? Like, oh, I wasn't in the right place for the right time. But I think in some other conversations we've had, that serendipity of it all comes back, right? You meet someone on a plane or in transit or in the grocery store, and it ends up being the making of something really special. So yeah, I'm always looking, but also I'm always aware that I can be found. So I don't have to if my head is not on a swivel one day, it's okay, right? Because somebody's maybe looking out for me in my community, and what's for me will still make its way to me.
That's a great transition to the next question, which is how do you prioritize and manage multiple opportunities when
Mm.
they arise simultaneously? Because someone as dynamic as you is going to have, you know, a great deal of opportunities coming in at the same time, and
Yeah.
some of them might be good. Some of them might be what they call fool's gold. Some of them might not look too good on paper, but it's something that
Hmm.
you can make your own. So
Mm.
yeah, how do you do that? Prioritize and then manage.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think one, tapping into my core values, which I've only recently, with the help of my coach, Dr. Anton, hey, Dr. Anton, have been able to really unpack, maybe in the past 2 years. So I think staying connected to my core values, which have kind of now become the core values of the Collab Lab, like active listening and intentional communication. And so measuring opportunities against that kind of rubric has helped, as I figure out, what path to pursue, because you're right, sometimes you get multiple things and you have to say, I can't commit to both, but which one should it be? But also, I'm still in a constant state of learning and unlearning as a new business owner. And even yesterday, I found myself saying yes too many times. And I looked at the week and I was like, oh, I probably should have said no to one of those engagements. So sometimes you push through, and like, to your point, you might make something out of the opportunity. You take a sacrifice on one end because you know that the opportunity will pay off. But yeah, I think I'm still learning that, right? And some of us who struggle with perfectionism, right? It's a balance to figure out when to say no, right? And when to, say yes. So I think it's still a work in progress, but I'm happy that I now have those core values to lean on.
Okay. What advice do you have for anyone who's hesitant to step out of their comfort zone and embrace new opportunities and or a career pivot? And I'm hoping that you were going to tell these people all of this. Like tell them where she's been, like where she's lived, what she like, how she picked up and moved. Like,
Well, what I was gonna say, I don't get no unsolicited advice, girl, because people
oh,
are sensitive. But but
okay.
when you were asking that, I was thinking about just find your people, find your community, right? Because I think it makes it easy to do those things that I've done, like you referenced, like moving to a country sight unseen. I've done that twice now. Moving to Asia once after the Great Recession, and then moving to Canada 4 years ago. Had never even visited the place, right? But I just picked up and went, right? So I think risks like that don't seem that risky for me, people in my circle will be like, that was so brave, or that was so, awesome to step outside of your comfort zone. So yeah, I think people have to find their community. And I was listening to a song this morning by Tony Jones, a Black woman who does spoken word, and the song was called "Take Up Space, Sis." So I think we have to learn, to take up space, right? And I've shrunk down a long time being in corporate America since I was 15. You can imagine, all of the messaging I got when I started in the late 90s around how to speak and who to speak to and different hierarchy. And so I think now I'm learning to take up space and be me. If that means my ponytail is too big to be captured on Zoom, so be it, right? Not shrinking down to fit into what someone else thinks. So yeah, still, an ongoing journey. But I don't know. What would you say about that in terms of your comfort zone? Because I see you stepping out and doing, like I said, a lot of things where you're carving your own path. So what's your rule of thumb?
So I think my rule of thumb has been, and this is new.
Mm.
Like you, like I feel like I've always had a safety net. So where some people's what was so what could look like to the outside world that I'm doing something that's extremely like risky,
Mm-hmm.
like move like having never rented a home. Like I moved
Right.
out. Like I moved. So this is a great story my dad told at his 75th birthday party, and I
Oh.
never. This is another thing. I never conceptualized it this way,
Uh-huh.
but I had went to college. I went to undergrad. I graduated. I
Okay.
moved back home for 9 months. It was difficult because I had lived there since I was 17, and I
Wow.
became an adult outside of the home. And then I studied abroad, and it was just a lot
Wow.
of things that I couldn't, like I couldn't fit in to that environment in a
Mm.
way that was as respectful as it should have been to
Okay.
being in my parents' home.
Yes.
So I was like, well, I'll move close enough that I can drive and do this. And I literally I got a job and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a place to live.
Oh no.
And literally the night before, like I said, here's me being so somebody's gonna take care of it. And my uncle lived in Maryland at the time. I had a job in Northern Virginia.
Okay.
So we couldn't get in touch with him quick enough.
Oh.
My mother and father made a phone call
Okay.
to someone in our church,
Hmm.
to my Aunt Toppy's sister,
Okay.
Aunt Dolly, and her husband, and they took me in. That
Wow.
night, I got there 11 o'clock at night, went to work the next morning. I'm serious. And my dad tells the story. He's like, so you got a job? It's like, yeah. It's like, you're moving. Like, yeah. He said, where are you going to live? And I was like, I don't know.
Wow.
So with those type of things, so someone would say it's risky to, as Aunt Dolly calls me, be a bag lady and put your little bit of things, your little
That's right.
clothes for the week
That's
into
right.
a bag, and then go stay in these folks' house. And I had nice, and it's another thing. I didn't just have a room; I had the basement. I had I had a key. I could get in and out without them all kinds of stuff. I was living like a queen. And then it was time. I started looking for a home because they were there. They were there to help me and step in for my parents when when I was going through that process.
Yeah.
But again, people were like, "Oh, you're a homeowner," this, and I'm like, "Well, what are you supposed to do?" Or "Oh, you bought groceries," and I'm like, "Well, you're supposed to. I gotta eat."
Yes.
So
Wow.
there's
So you
things
bought your
that.
first home having never rented. You never rented.
No.
Wow. That's unique.
Because
Mm-hmm.
my father said that, instead he was like, well, why don't you just buy a place?
Wow.
I
Okay.
was
Just
like,
that easy.
because I'm poor, and again, well, we'll help you.
That's
Same
right.
thing. There's those kind of things. Now I
Yes.
do think about as I've gotten older, like I said, you taught me this. We're from the 1900s, so we have a much different life. So I went ahead and, there are things now that if I had been presented with, especially when I worked in corporate, that I would have taken those risks.
Okay.
being a homeowner kept
Yeah.
me tied to Virginia, instead
Okay.
of going and moving to, Arizona for 2 years to do a high performing program,
I
or just
see.
do something new in a different state,
That's right.
pick up and lead. Like, I felt like I couldn't do those things,
Mhm.
or even like you did, like move to another country for
Yeah.
a minute, for a year,
Yeah.
2 years, and just figure it out.
Right.
So when, like, that's the one risk that I
Mhm.
like, those are the risks I wish I had taken, like
Mhm.
literally getting out of my comfort zone, meaning getting out of a place where I don't have that safety net.
Okay.
And I don't know if that even exists, of me not having a safety net, just
Yeah.
because I was raised in such a community that has grown. And so, like, every
That's right.
community member has a community that has a community that has a
That's right.
community. So I feel like I could be anywhere and be safe.
That's
you
right.
know
That's important. No, but that community, back to community, but also that stability builds confidence, right? Because now you know how it feels to have a steady place to go and know, you have that. So that's going to build up your, resistance and resilience in the future, right? To be able to try something even later that doesn't have to be relocating, right? But other ventures because you have that foundation.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
you're right.
Hmm.
I'm glad you asked me that. Like, no one's
Hmm.
ever turned it back on me.
Hmm.
Oh,
Flip the script on you
yeah,
while you
you
jet
sure
lagged.
did. And you know what? I didn't even, like, you do it with such finesse. I didn't even realize. Wait a minute.
That's that introvert slide. We mix it for you. Yes, I love it.
Made me open up.
I love it. Your viewers will love it too. They might, learn something new about you while you're doing your hosting.
Yeah, Erica Larson is in the comments. I think
Hey, Erica.
I can't see real well with my glasses on.
I see
I'm gonna
it.
just be honest. It says, I think it's LinkedIn.
Uh huh.
A heart, and then the emoji with the
Mind
head.
blown.
Yeah,
I love it. I see her name a lot. I don't know if we're connected, but we'll get connected, Erica.
yeah.
Thank you for
Get
tuning
connected.
in.
Get connected. All right.
Hmm.
So, last question in
Hmm.
the main question and answer period,
Okay.
and I wanted to make this personal because I love folks who have a tagline, and I love folks who carry their mantra into their work. And you do,
Mm.
like, you're unapologetic about being you, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
How do you leverage the three things that you're great at: listening, learning, and laughing loudly, to
Mm.
enhance your career and inspire others?
Beautiful question. And again, the first time I've been asked this. So thank you for your thoughtfulness in crafting these questions. And it's also odd for me, right? Being the curious one who asks questions, being the recruiter, right, who gets to interrogate people is also it's refreshing, but it's different to be on this end, especially so often with you. But you're easy to talk to. So this is the third time you're grilling me on the open interwebs. You should know. But I think so the starting with the listening. I think that's just so key to like understanding and also having empathy, right? So I try to leverage listening in those situations, especially where I feel myself, being frustrated or being unsure or needing more guidance. Like just turning up the listening always seems to help, right? So that's just really important for me. The learning is important because I remember being told as a kid, you can be anything you want to be, right? In the sixth grade, they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and in the yearbook it says I wanted to be a lawyer that had my own firm, right? Maybe shout out to Claire Huxtable because that's the only place I could have gotten that idea. But reality sometimes uh, tells you the opposite, right? You maybe can't be, anything you wanted to be, or like maybe not in the timing you thought, or maybe not in the way you thought. So that learning component keeps that centered for me, so that even if it's like for me like a fail or a misstep, I'm still bringing it back to like, well, I still learned a lot from that. I learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about others. So I think that helps keep me grounded for sure. And then the laughing, like, girl, what is a day without a good old laugh? And if I got to manufacture a laugh, if I have a dry day with no laughs, if I can't make myself laugh, I go to The Office or Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm repeats, and I'm good. Like, I'm always going to get my laugh in every day because
Okay.
it just keeps me, keeps that levity there. And even especially during this really difficult couple of years we've come out of with not being able to socialize and get our, daily rejuvenation on out of the home, I think that laughter has become even more important, right? Like to
Yeah.
even hear yourself laugh out loud when you're having a rough day, you're like, okay, that's the beauty of being human, right? Like we can laugh through our tears sometimes. So, yeah, I think aiming to make every experience kind of centered around that listening, that learning, and that laughter, it just infuses joy where there may not otherwise be joy. So, thank
Yes.
you, Erica. Oh, good. We're connected from
Yeah.
SourceCon. Okay, good, good, good.
Erica says, hello, ladies. Love the conversation. And yes, Maisha with the MAI. We're connected from when we met for a hot second at a SourceCon a
A
hundred
hundred.
years ago. Oh,
Yeah. 101, actually, Erica. It was 101 years ago. Yeah.
you are both fantastic people. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm just proud of me for figuring out how to show the
Look,
comments on my phone.
look at you.
My
You-
phone.
You're doing it.
Whew, look at look at
Multi-talented, multifaceted. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Kirsten. Give it up for her. Hercules, Hercules.
see, listen, I feel like we are like the best friends we never knew, like
Right.
they never met.
Right.
We just
Right. Never met in person still. We still got to make that happen. You have to
we
come up to
will.
Canada.
I wish you were here,
I
but
know. I used to shout out to Vegas where you are. I used to live in
don't
Henderson.
tell these people where. Don't tell these folks where I'm
Oh, I
at.
forgot. Shout out to the secret bunker. Shout out to being down in Dallas, Texas.
I'm just
Hold it
teasing. I'm
down.
just teasing. Everybody know I have put that I'm at that I am at
Oh,
HR.
that's right. That's right.
Thanks to my wonderful sponsor Visage,
Nice.
who also sponsors Wins, Woes, and Wine, and
Mhm.
allows me to be the host of that dynamic show. And I've had some great conversations, including one with Maisha, where
Yeah.
I'm going to point out again because it is not an insignificant thing that I had someone who dropped out
Mm.
unexpectedly
Yeah.
on like one of the most important days for talent acquisition. Like,
Wow.
on
Was
Global
it?
TA Day.
Oh, it
Like,
sure was. It sure
yeah.
was.
And I'm like, okay,
Left you hanging without
who
a
can
TA
I
person.
reach out to? And everybody was like, again, at Global TA Day,
Oh, that's
speaking and
right. That's right.
participating.
That's right.
And I did take a risk
Yes.
because at that point, you and I had only had
One.
one-on-one conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also to, recap or to tape an episode for TA Week, which
Mm-hmm.
will be aired soon.
Oh, good.
So it was not a, like, oh, I this is a sure thing.
Right.
And even when I emailed you, I was like, so possibly could you maybe get on the phone to maybe like have a conversation in maybe 3 minutes or so if like you
Right. It was definitely like Chat GPT was not involved in that message. It was a very human, vulnerable moment. Like,
it
I'm
was.
asking for a favor. Like, please hear me out.
But I didn't just email you for a favor. I was like, what's your schedule?
Uh-huh.
Do you have any time today? And then when you replied back, oh, I'm at Global TA Day. I'm watching the speakers. I said, okay. And that I actually said, okay, enjoy your day. You were like, no, what's up?
Right.
And yeah, I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
it really was one of the best episodes we had.
Oh, good.
Highly engaged.
Oh,
We got to
good.
talk about AI. Josh got to ask some questions.
Yeah, shout out to Josh at Visage.
Like right off the bat. So I
Yes.
appreciate that. So
Yes, for
yes,
sure. And I have to
Maisha
say,
is my sister who lives in Canada by way of South Central. Yes,
that's right. Sister
yeah,
from another mister, yes. But I
yes,
have to
yes.
say, I think because of how so I saw myself in your message because like I'm that kind of person where if I don't want to ask anyway, but if I ask and I get like a hint of a no, I'm quick to be like, okay, no problem, shut it down. So I was like, no, 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 she's not gonna get out this easy with this. Oh no, have a nice day. No, what you need, girl? Like
Yeah.
we can rearrange things. Yeah. So thank you for being vulnerable because it reminded me that I can also ask for things that are hard for me, right? I can ask for help when I need it. And even if I get a no, it's okay. Sometimes it's
Yes.
hard to hear a no, but I like when the the maybe becomes a yes. That is my favorite
Yes.
moment.
And y'all know the trap recruiter motto, no means next opportunity. Like,
Oh, I love that.
get to it. Get to it. And get your
Hashtag.
merch. Get your no merch.
Yes, I'm gonna have to. So
Yes.
next
Not you,
podcast
them.
I'm on, I'll have to buy your sweatshirt and wear it on their podcast.
Oh,
I
there
think
you
I'm gonna do
go.
that. Yes.
Cross collaboration.
Exactly. That's what Collab
Promotion.
Lab is all about.
Promotion. Yes. All right, time for the rapid fire questions. And again, I'm gonna have to add these later because I don't have a way to type out the career advice. But
Okay.
what is the best piece of career advice you never took or you took later in your career?
Mm, I think it would be, it's one that I somewhat implemented, but I wasn't consistent. I heard years ago, this is back when we still worked in offices. So this is probably early 2000s. I was in
Okay.
the kitchen of whatever office, and someone I respected said, well, you should interview every year, even if you love your job. And they said that way, if you interview every year, how your skills fare in the market at any given time, right? And also, you just stay fresh in terms of your interviewing skills. They can never atrophy if you're interviewing one or two times a year. And I thought, that's really interesting. And I think I took it for a while and then got into a good groove where I didn't have to look for work and dropped it. But no, it comes back up every now and again. And I'll advise job seekers to do the same. Just always be interviewing. We make a new ABI for that. Yes, always be interviewing and just know your worth, right? So that's important.
Okay. So you can't use the same one for this
Okay.
one. But
Okay.
what advice would you give to your early career self?
Hmm. Um, Learn when to leave work for the day. Learn when to stop, right? Everything doesn't always have to be checked off your list the same day. My husband reminds me that often when I say what I have to do today. He's like, but does it have to be done today? I'm like, oh, I guess that was my own self-imposed deadline. No, maybe it's not today. Maybe it's this week. So yeah, just learn when to stop the work, right, and learn to detach yourself from work. Hmm.
Okay. If you wrote a book about your career so far, what would the title
Mm.
be?
What would the title be? Hmm. Reflections. Reflections. And I feel like that was an R&B album in the 90s, even Reflections. But yeah, Reflections. It would just be called Reflections. I don't know what will come after the colon yet.
No, so I'm gonna do a what we did to Tara.
What's
I,
that?
I'm seeing,
I'm
I'm
sensing.
hearing reflections,
Uh-huh.
listening, learning, and laughing loudly.
Girl, where do I send the check? Okay, I'll
No,
use for
no,
that one.
no.
Yeah, that's what it has to be. Yeah.
You know what the check is? The check is
Mm,
that book coming out,
yeah.
2024.
Ah, girl, you didn't give me another deadline.
Hold on one second.
Of course. Vegas is like that. You get the room service in
It was
Vegas, right?
housekeeping.
VIP,
It
VIP
was
room service.
housekeeping.
Oh, okay. Trying to hook you up.
I forget.
Okay.
Yeah, what is it, 11 o'clock? 11 something.
Right. Yes. You slowing them down, messing up their daily schedule.
I'm
But you're
gonna
on
leave.
East Coast time.
I'm gonna leave soon. I'm gonna leave.
I love that.
Yes.
Reflections,
Reflections, listening, learning,
learning.
and laughing
Oh, that's so
loud
good,
by
Kirsten.
Maisha L. Cannon.
Wow. I love that. Okay. With forward by ChatGPT. In the AI age. Okay. That's so good. Thank you for that. Thank you for dropping that seed. And you gave me 2024. You gave me something to put on my vision board. So thank you for that. Never know how it might manifest,
24
right?
is close, but it's
Yeah.
also a whole 365 days. So
Yes. Yes. And it could be V1 of the book, right? It might not be the whole story. Maybe it's the first L in the trilogy.
go. There you
Hmm.
trilogy.
I love it.
I love it too.
Hmm.
What TV, book, or movie character besides Claire Huxtable, or actually it could be Claire Huxtable, give
uh,
a glimpse of yourself?
Oh, a glimpse of myself. So I don't see myself in Claire. I did maybe in the sixth grade, just
Okay.
aspirationally. Huh. I think Issa Rae because she's the awkward black girl. I definitely, Issa Rae, right?
I've seen Awkward Black Girl, but I
Okay.
will admit that because that was the YouTube channel.
Yes. So
But I wasn't like a diehard Insecure fan because I had
Okay.
aged out of that demographic.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, for Insecure. Yeah. I still resonate with her awkward black girl phase because her Insecure phase, she had it going on to me. Like she was just a
yeah,
hottie by then. But like the awkward black girl stage, those episodes are so funny to see and just like her natural humor and like, like just being a little bit cool, but like mostly awkward. I don't know. I
yeah.
see myself in that.
Okay.
So old original Issa Rae, not new Issa Rae. I can't even. I'm not in that time zone. She killing it right now, but she's on the Barbie level right now. But yeah, but original throwback Issa Rae, that was my girl.
Okay. What's your go-to songs, or music genre when you want to
Mm.
hype yourself up?
That song I mentioned earlier, one of the lines in Take Up Spaces is I gas me up, I hype me up. I gas me up, I hype me up. So I do like spoken word. Tony Jones does a great spoken word. But when I look at my Spotify at the end of the year, like my genres are all over the place. But I always come back to like R&B, hip hop, rap, and anything inspirational,
Yeah.
those really pump me up. What I listened to right before today, I listened to this song called Water by Tyla because the
Okay.
beat is so
Yeah,
good.
I see that.
Uh-huh. And then what came on right after that, I started singing, and my husband was like, "Don't you have to do something in a minute?" Because I was singing, "On my mama, on my hood, I look fly, I look good." Yeah, that's Victoria Monet. So
Yeah.
yes, anything rap, hip hop, R&B infused, I love it.
I definitely need to curate my Amazon shuffle
Oh,
a little bit better
okay.
because I go from Young Thug to Kirk Franklin,
That part.
from
Been there, been
from
there.
Rick Ross to Richard Smallwood, and that doesn't work.
Okay, John P. Key to Jay Holiday.
Right.
Yes, that was my 2020 playlist for sure. I was heavy gospel early in the pandemic. Yes, so I love that.
Yeah,
It
I
makes
got
for a
separated.
more robust you, right?
I got
Mhm.
separated. I can't sell drugs and then be talking about praise the Lord. That does not work.
The Lord understands, girl. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay, so this is an opportunity for folks who want to know where
Mhm.
you're going to be. What's
Mm.
next for you? Where can we
Mhm.
go support you, your work? I know you're doing 100 Days of AI right now.
Yes,
They
100 Day
follow
of
that
AI.
journey, and then any other things that you're working on right now.
Yeah, and I'll drop the links too once we hop off. But 100 Days of AI, I'm doing on Twitter, aka X, and just dropping my learnings every other day or so there. The last Monday of this month, I'm hosting the last Connection Lab of the year, and that's a free networking kind of speed mixer event that I host every month on Gather Round, which is a really fun platform. So definitely register for that. I'll drop the link. If you want to just say hi to your TA friends, it's just TA friends sharing resources, wins from the quarter, and best practices. So
Okay,
that'll be great. October the 30th, the last Monday of this month.
that's my
Yeah.
birthday. That's
Is
Kirsten.
it? Oh, happy birthday in advance. Yeah. If you come through and you might get a little birthday treat. We give prizes away in there. So come through for a little
You know,
45 minutes.
you know, uh, I'm really not allowed to play internet games anymore.
Oh,
Because
oh, that's right.
after
After
I
you
won
shut us
at TA
down.
Week, I was done. Like,
I forgot. Yes. After you won. What game was that? It was like a
oh, I forget what it's called.
trivia. It was a trivia on Slido, I think. With the trivia.
Yeah,
Kaboom
Co-
is one
something
of those
like
game, yeah,
that.
platforms, yeah. But yeah, come through the last Monday of the month,
Yeah.
and then the other thing that is live right now is social talent. I was fortunate enough to do an hour of e-learning content on recruiting with AI. So that's
Nice.
live on the social talent platform. I think there are a few snippets that are available outside of the platform, on their page on LinkedIn. But that's exciting to be talking about AI at this stage in my career, to be able to kind of reinvent, yourself from the sourcing into the recruiting with AI. So I'm excited about that content.
Love it, love it. Well, I have so enjoyed our time together. I'm
Yes.
going to ask you to. I'm going to end the live, but I'm going to ask you to
Okay.
stay for just a few more
Of
minutes. Uh,
course.
But thanks to everyone who joined in. Erica, thank you for your comments. Anyone whose comments I missed, again,
Yes.
I am on my phone. I don't even know if my connection is working.
Oh, right.
I'm just praying it
Oh,
is.
goodness.
But stay tuned for more from Opportunity October. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.